Let's try to get you to grasp this right now. Maybe you can get it. Maybe you can actually experience this shift. So do the following exercise. First of all, ground yourself in actuality. As I said in my What is Actuality episode. So pull out your hand, take out your hand like this, and actually look at your hand and realize, here's the hand. And that this is actuality. Everything I've been talking about so far, all of that was just ideas, fantasies, and concepts and imagination. Ground yourself by looking at your hand at actuality. And notice what this is. This is part of this perceptual bubble that I've been talking about. Here it is, right? So I wasn't just talking about airy-fairy stuff. I'm pointing to something concrete. So find that thing that I'm pointing to. This is the visual field. Find it. Become conscious of it right now. Put your awareness on top of it right now. And now what I want you to realize, try to notice this, is that this is not biology. You are not a biological creature. This field is not some part of some biological creature that's coming from some brain somewhere. That's not what this is. Also notice that this visual field is not yours. You don't own it. It seems as though this field is your life. It actually constitutes your whole life. That's what you've believed your whole life. But try to unsee that right now. Try to look at your hand and look at it and see it as just an object floating out in the vacuum of empty space, like that meteor or that asteroid that was floating around 10 billion years ago. Try to see this hand that same way right now. And try to notice that there's no you here looking at the hand. What there is really is just a hand and it's being. So depersonalize your experience of the you. Depersonalize all this. Try to not see this as your life or your emotions or your perceptions or your sensations, but that this is the external world right here. There's no external world somewhere else. The external world is not hidden from you. It's totally laid bare before your eyes. This is how the external world looks, or rather, not looks, but is. This is not you as a creature experiencing the external world. No. This is the raw, unmediated external world. You have full access to reality right now. This visual field that you have always thought is your biological, part of your biological creature stuff, this is not that. This is the raw fabric of the universe. Try to see it. That this literally is the universe, and here it is, it's existing. That means the universe has colors and shapes and smells and sounds and emotions and feelings and thoughts and ideas. And it can think and it can understand. That's not biology. That's the raw physical universe. It can do that. Now, of course, you're wondering now, but Leo, how is it possible that the fabric of the universe itself has all these things when these are all subjective qualities? Well, that's the mind fuck. You have to recontextualize that and realize that it's possible because here it is. It's always been possible. The only problem is that you have misinterpreted it your whole life, and you've always just assumed that these are all subjective properties, stuff that happens to biological organisms inside of brains. Just stop assuming that. You see, that was a groundless assumption. That was a bad assumption. Rather, what the raw universe is that it just is this. And it's not happening to you. It's happening to itself. It's happening without a you. It's always been happening without a you. The only time that you think it's happening to you is when you think it's happening to you. You see? You have to think that it's happening to me for it to actually appear as though it's happening to you. When you're not thinking about it, it's not happening to you. It's just there for itself. So try to get that right now if you can. If you succeed at this, what you're doing is you're stripping the you or the ego or the self away from this experience here. This changes the experience to not being an experience anymore, but to just being absolute being. Absolute being, or truth with a capital T. So what is truth with a capital T? It's this, stripped of the you. Don't expect it to look different. Don't expect the colors to change. Don't expect the sounds and sights to change. Don't expect unicorns and angels and harps playing and the light of God shining down upon. Don't expect that stuff. None of that stuff will happen. What will just happen is that you will realize that there never was a you here, and that what this is just absolute pure truth, pure being. Can you get that? I mean, don't beat yourself up if you can't. This is very deep stuff. This takes a lot of focus and attention and contemplation to get. This is not something you get in 5 minutes. Which is not to say you should limit yourself. You certainly could get it in 5 minutes if your mind was very open. You might get a glimpse of it right now. Some of you will. Post me a comment down below if you do. But many of you won't. Many of you won't be able to break through, and that's okay. It's just you're gonna have to work through it. You know, you can pause, you can rewind, you could try this exercise 100 times, and you probably will need to. And then one day you will break through and realize what I'm talking about and what's being pointed to. So this is why it's so difficult to realize God or to realize the absolute, is precisely because it's not different than what you've always been experiencing. It's just a reinterpretation, a very, very radical reinterpretation or recontextualization of what you've always been experiencing. And this is why they say that enlightenment is already here. This is why they say that you're already enlightened. This is why they say that there's nothing you can do to become enlightened. Because they're right in a sense, because there's only one thing happening here. The problem is that you're misinterpreting it. So what needs to change is your misinterpretation.